let's talk about the consequences of authenticity. You are not going to hear me ever tell you don't be authentic. Hell, I just said it not too long ago in a completely other video that not being authentic is fucking with your life. But here's the other piece, right? If you are dark skinned, if you are fat, if you are a woman, if you are of color, and somebody is in a position of power perceived to be above you in the hierarchy of sex, race, class, color, etc. You're feeling yourself, you're loving yourself, you're showing up fully in yourself also can have consequences for you. It can have consequences because people who really realize that they don't have as much power as they think they do, they tend to reestablish their power by way of violence. We see it all the time. When black people decide that they're going to do black people things, what happens? White people come put their nose in black people business and then try to hurt black folk. We see it with men. If you are a woman, you've seen it with men. Men don't want women who want and know themselves so much that they will leave them behind. So what are we met with? Violence. When people are upset at the sassiness or the audacity to live and show up brightly in fat people and in dark people, what happens? You get violence from others. Sometimes you get violence from within the group. I don't want you to think that authenticity comes with no consequences, because it does. But you are the one that has to weigh those consequences for yourself. You are the one that has to decide whether or not it is worth it for you to live a life that is a little bit less than what you want, a little bit less than what you like, a little bit less than what you deserve in order to make somebody who ain't figured themselves out to be more comfortable. I'm not saying that there's a wrong or right answer, because sometimes the right answer is to hide yourself, protect yourself, and get back to where you can be. And sometimes the answer is to say, damn it all to hell, and go ahead and show off and be buck wild. I have been in situations where I teach, y'all know this, DEI, that space between sexuality, racism, etc., right? And I was teaching it in Utah. Utah is as white as it comes, y'all. And the people who were hosting me were white folk. And this is following an incident where I was asked by white folk to be on a white stage at a conference, and they didn't like what I had to say. And so the energy between myself and the conference organizer shifted. So when I went to Utah, I was wary, because here I am in a place I've never been with people I barely know, teaching about things that make white people angry at the best of times, right? And I needed to be also worried simultaneously about my safety, about my well-being, about how I'm gonna make sure that I make it home. So sometimes you turn the authenticity meter a little bit down. Try to make yourself a little bit more palatable so that you can make it home, right? But there's another time where I was in, I'm not going to say where I was, because then you'd be able to figure out what conference I was at. But I spoke at a conference and I talked about the violence of white women. And by the time I was done, you could hear a mouse piss on cotton. It was so quiet. And I saw some angry faces, and I had to remind people at that conference that, remember, don't come for me unless I call for you. If you feeling upset, go that way toward the doors, go to your room, go sit down, go cry. Don't come over here, because I fight, right? That's what I had to tell the people, that I fight. And it was able to say that because of where I was and how surrounded I was in the love of the people who know and love me, who were also in that space and were there to support me. What I'm saying is, there are spaces and times where you are able to be authentic. And then there are the people who will be authentic no matter where they go, and they will risk it all. And here's the thing. They don't just risk it for them. They risk it for you. I risk it for you. I find that I often am the one who will risk it, and I will risk it for you. And here's why. Because we cannot continue to allow people to have comfort at our expense. People in positions of power constantly get to be comfortable, but it is at the expense of the people who are not in positions of power. I'm a black woman with dark skin. People expect me to yield to light-skinned people, to men, and to white folk, all alike. I don't do it. I show up as me as much as I can, as much as I feel comfortable with, as much as I feel ready for. I show up as me because it is time for them to be learned, to be taught that their comfort is not anybody's primary concern. Now, my safety has been, but I had to also think about my mental safety and wellness as well. The constant hiding of myself in order to bring my body home with safety was costing me my mental well-being. It increases anxiety. It increases depression. These are things they don't tell you about, right? Which also means that it impacts how you show up sexually with your partner. When you have to spend your entire day being somebody else to make somebody else comfortable, when you don't get to show up as you, it impacts you in ways that are both told and untold. So this is me asking you to consider the ways in which you show up in the world. Consider the ways in which you are allowed to be you and the ways that you are not. Cultivate where you can be, and maybe try to work the system a little so that you can show up a little bit more as you. But I would hate for you to think that there are no consequences to showing up as your authentic self, because there are, real and realized. So hit me in the comments. Let me know if you are a person who has ever experienced the consequences, good or bad, from showing up as you. Let's have real conversation and discourse about this. Remember, discourse, not disrespect. Keep it cute in the comments. All right, y'all. I'm out. Bye.